All right, this week we have the opportunity to check out another three-row SUV. So we're looking at the 2021 Volkswagen Atlas, which has received a mild refresh for the 2021 model year. I'm going to flip the camera around, show you some of the details, some of the features, some of the new things, and I'm going to show you one little thing that, for me, is going to be a deal breaker. But it may not be for you. So I'm going to flip the camera around and we'll take a closer look at the 2021 Volkswagen Atlas. All right, so in flipping the camera around, probably the most visible thing that I notice on the Atlas is this virtual cockpit. And, you know, it's this digital display that pops up behind the wheel, and it's configurable. I personally like it, having the map mode here, but you can change the view, and you can make the map smaller. You can, get more traditional gauges to pop up. If you really don't like looking at the map here, you can then kind of scroll through the different things it'll show. So your radio station, your telephone, some vehicle status information, driving data, assist systems, and then back to the map. So this is an available feature. It is not standard on the Atlas, but I first saw this on Audi vehicles and I like it. The interesting thing that I noted is when you have that displayed there, you go to your navigation system here, and it will only put your map in one location. So you can have it here or you can have it here. So you see, once I switched it there, it put a compass behind the wheel. Something else to note, you have your volume dial, not a slider or anything like that, and you have a tuning dial. Now on Volkswagen vehicles, or at least especially on this one, the interesting thing is you turn it, but it doesn't actually change the station until you press the button. This is more of an up-level model, so you're going to see some up-level features on here. You've got the heated seats and dual climate control. You also have a wireless charging system here. Your USB ports back there. And I've talked about this previously in other reviews, but this is one of my current pet peeves, having wireless charging, but then needing to wire in for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I think if you're going to have one, you should have the other, and if you're not going to have one, you shouldn't have the other. Just personal opinion there. So on to some of the details. I like this accent trim piece here, this little shiny bit. Stitching on the steering wheel, stitching detail here, and the perforation on the seats. Another highlight is the updated logo, the updated Volkswagen logo here. I really like the brown interior. You usually get either black, or maybe some tan or cream accents, and in the Atlas it has a very handsome, kind of a chocolatey brown, saddle brown maybe color, and I like that. In terms of what's new on the interior, like I said, they've updated some of the accent pieces. It gets tightened up a little bit in terms of design. And you also get a few new available safety features. The adaptive cruise control, I believe, is now available. It's not standard. And blind spot monitoring is standard. Rear cross traffic alert is standard. So basically, when you have your vehicle in reverse and you have your rear camera on, so you've got your rear camera on, if somebody is coming at you from either side, you'll get like a little audible and visual notification that something could be in your blind spot. I think in a parking lot, that is particularly helpful and important, backing out of spots, especially when you're in a three-row vehicle and perhaps might have some distractions in the back seat. I know another new feature for 2020 is available heated rear seats. This vehicle doesn't have it, but when this is on, you can adjust your temperatures back here. And as somebody who sat a lot in the back seat as a kid, I would certainly appreciate it because I was always cold. So the front and rear fascia get tightened up in terms of styling a little bit. So again, you see the new logo on the front. Exterior from the back also gets a little bit of a redesign. And it's funny because this looks a lot wider than probably what it is, but again, keeping in mind this is a 3-row vehicle. All right, so I'm going to climb in this second row seat really quick. Okay, obviously the front seat is adjusted for me, so I have oodles and oodles of legroom back here, like oodles. This is probably a more normal seating position for the front seat. My husband was sitting in that when we went to the grocery yesterday, so I'll slide over and you can see still plenty of legroom going on here. Can't straighten out my leg, but still plenty of legroom. And you can see when I moved the seat forward, it goes forward about 2 or 3 inches, you know, giving the rear seat just a little extra legroom. So one of the things I think is missing, and I've started to really notice this a lot because, you know, it's not a feature that we missed until somebody put it there, and not everybody did, and now I miss it. No USB ports back here. You know, you have a couple of cup holders, but no USB ports. You'll notice too, the legroom back here, fairly decent, especially with the seat moved a little bit forward. So you do have some nice legroom back here, and you know, no real bump here that would compromise your comfort for your feet. I'd also like to point out we often give German automakers a bad rap for their cup holders, but these cup holders are actually pretty perfect. They fit you know, 24-ounce glass water bottle, and then you'd fit, because of the little adjustable things here, they also would fit like a smaller store-bought plastic bottle, so that's helpful. So multiple sizes of cups will fit in there, and it's also got a really good position because they're not in front of the gear shift or behind the gear shift, so you're not going to mess with them when you're shifting the vehicle, and you know, they're on the side of the passenger. So I think good location, good position, and also just the fact that they fit multiple different sizes of water bottles, super helpful. All right, let's talk some facts really quick. So even though they have added a lot of content here, they didn't increase the price, which I think is really nice. So it's $31,545 is the base price. And the other thing that they've done is they've made it available for you to be able to get the 4-cylinder engine with the all-wheel drive, and that wasn't possible before. And you can get the 4-cylinder engine all the way through the trim lineup now. All right, so showed you details, we've talked pricing, and now I want to show you the one thing that would probably be a deal breaker for me for this car. All right, so one of the things that I don't like about this vehicle, and like I said, it could for me be a deal breaker, is the seat management. To get it to move forward to access the third row is relatively easy, but there's not a lot of space here for someone to climb in and out. Now, I'm about 5 feet tall and I weigh about 95 pounds. So I say I'm about the size of an average 10-year-old. So, okay, a 10-year-old could get back there. An adult is not fitting back there easily or gracefully. But my real problem is with how easy these seats are to manage. Now, getting it back from that position is okay. But what I found is this is really difficult to then put back in place. And this is just the single seat here. So the other side uses, adjusts for the middle and the outboard seat on the driver's side. This is just for the single seat, and I feel like I really have to put some heft into it to get this seat up. So that is certainly not my favorite. Now, like I said, it's the seat management in general, so let's look at how you deal with the third row seats to put those down and up. All right, so now we are looking at the third row, and in order to get them down, I'm not concerned about the fact that it's a manual seat operation. That doesn't bother me. But again, it's just a little bit difficult and cumbersome, especially for somebody who might be on the petite side of the scale. So you flip this button up, and a little orange button pops up so you can see that it's locked, and then you push it forward. So again, it's not necessarily the down that is the difficult part, it's the getting the seats back up. They do have a strap that you pull to bring it forward, but again, it's not easy and certainly not graceful. I also found on a couple of times when I was putting the seats down or putting the seats up, depending on the position of the second row, the third row seats wouldn't go all the way down. So then I'd have to move around to the second row, move the seats forward, or change the angle of the second row backrest to give more room for the third row. Then I'd have to come back around, push it down again, actually climb back there to push it down because it was already partially down. So I don't in and of itself mind manual seat operation, but this is just a little bit heavy, a little bit clunky, and a little bit cumbersome, especially if you're looking at somebody who's on the petite side of the spectrum. So I know that's not going to bother a lot of people, but if you need to deal with the seats and manage the seats a little bit, if you have kids, if you're moving cargo, this is definitely a feature you want to test if you are looking at the Volkswagen Atlas. All right, so that is a look at some of the details on the 2021 Volkswagen Atlas. Now, while I said I really like the driving characteristics of this vehicle, and I do, I love the VR6 engine, I love the horsepower, I love the peppy, off-the-line starts. I love pretty much everything about how this vehicle drives. It's even though it's a 3-row SUV, it's easy to maneuver in and out of traffic. It's easy to park in tight city spaces. I was able to get it into my garage with no problems. I love all of that. I'm a Volkswagen owner, so I obviously like the way Volkswagens drive. However, as a 3-row functional vehicle, this was not my jam. There are a lot of other 3-row vehicles out there that are easier to operate and easier to deal with in terms of management of that third row and entry to that third row. If you are only occasionally putting people back there, if you are taller than I am, maybe that's not an issue for you. But as I said, you probably specifically want to test that feature if you are buying this vehicle for that third row access. So all around, base price for this car is around $32,000. If you are looking to get it with all-wheel drive, you're going to go up to about $39,000. There are 2 engines, the V6 as well as the 4-cylinder turbo, and there's just a lot of cool available features and things on this vehicle that make it a very attractive buy. So I'm a bit wishy-washy on it. Maybe you're not. I know a lot of people who love this vehicle. So try before you buy. And if you want a fun 3-row SUV that is nimble and easy to drive, this is certainly one you should check out.